rain, and nobody seems to be on the run. Oh, there is fire on the mountain top, and no one is running. Oh, yes. Wishing we had put out the fire. Oh, Lord, for there is fire on the mountain. Yeah, yeah, and there is nobody. Oh, there is fire on the mountain, and no one is running. So, yeah, yeah, yeah. There is fire in Africa. Oh, fire.
This one is taken from, I want to say her self-titled album, but because, she spells her name A-S-A, but the slight inflection then changes the pronunciation to Asha, and the album is called Asha, spelled A-S-H-A, that came out in 2007. Fire on the Mountain is how we kick off the show today. It is so good to be back. It is so incredible to be back in studio, back with you wherever you are. How I have missed you. It's been almost 3 months. It's been almost 3 months that I've been off air, and I know a few of you were sending me tweets every so often to say, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? I left very abruptly, very, very abruptly. That was not the plan at all. We had a well strategized plan with my team. We thought we'd ride it out until the end of May, then we'd take it week by week and see what happens. Before we tell you that I was carrying a human being, I happened to be pregnant, and we were slowly growing this full circle family. We had our strategy. We thought we'd rope you in the last few weeks to tell you that you're going to be abo auntie nabo malume to a brand new little person. And then it just didn't work out like that. It just didn't work out like that. And unfortunately, I had to leave the show abruptly to ensure that I continued in the final stages of my pregnancy in a healthy, safe environment, and went on to deliver a beautiful, beautiful baby girl who's doing incredible. She is thriving. She is happy. She is laughing. And now we are back to having conversations with you, back to tackling some personal issues, back to family meetings, back to having incredible guests on the show. I cannot wait to delve into it. And today we're going to be having a conversation that I think a lot of us have with, our friends and within our inner circles, where we talk about whether or not it is conducive to have a business in South Africa without succumbing to some kind of bribery, payola, connections, backdoors. Is it possible for South African businesses to survive and thrive without bribery? What's been your experience? I'd love to hear from you. What has been your experience in this regard? If you are in business, perhaps you know people in business and you know some of their experiences, I'd love to know whether or not you think it's possible in South Africa to have a business that not only survives, but actually goes on to thrive without you having to call somebody to do something for you. So that's on the conversation today. We'll also be catching up with the head of UJ's Arts and Culture, and the University of Johannesburg's Arts and Culture is calling for applications for internships in related industries. So we'll find out what exactly that opportunity entails. And then on the other side of 2 o'clock, it's a mid-year check-in. Is your career still on track? I don't know. My one producer is going, gateka. So that's coming up after 2 o'clock. Is your career still on track? So beautiful to be back with you. Our phone lines are open as per usual. You can always give us a shout, or you can, of course, drop us a tweet. We are on X at SAFM, and you can find me there as well at Bridget Masinga. It is the full circle with myself, Bridget Masinga, on SAFM.
Breaking news. SARS has enhanced the personal income tax return form. It has simpler questions that adapt to your income and deductions based on your answers. Whether you're employed or self-employed, the digital form has built-in guidance and the option to save and finish later. Tax matters, so does your time. File with ease on e-filing or the SARS Mobi app today. Go to sars.gov.za. SARS, at your service.
This year, the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival presents 3 unforgettable days deep in the art and heart of jazz. From the 26th, 27th and 28th of September, Umu Sankare, Ababemu, Jasmia Horn, Silent Law and the Noisemakers, Najbonk Trio, Michelle Ndingio-Cello, Willem Siini, Gabby Mutuba and over 50 world-class acts will be ready to welcome you and yours to 4 magnificent stages of the Sandton Convention Center. Take me there. Buy your tickets at Ticketmaster now. This Women's Month, SAFM stands with the women shaping South Africa's future. Under the theme, Building Resilient Economies for All, we honor the pioneers, the problem solvers, and the everyday heroes driving change. Stay tuned as SAFM brings you powerful stories and meaningful conversations that move us. SAFM, celebrating women, celebrating progress. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. You are listening to The Full Circle.
086 000 2032 is the number that you can call us on, and 061 410 4107. That is our WhatsApp line as we get into conversations today. And our very first conversation asking the question of whether or not South African businesses can survive, let alone thrive and be successful without some kind of bribery or backdoor connections, a little bit payola. What has been your experience in your business, or what has been your experience within the sector that you work in? We've got Mohammed Ali joining us now, the Managing Director of International Organization for Standardization. And Mohammed is going to just unpack for us some of the findings here, because corruption in business is rampant, right? And many firms feel forced to play along. But there are also mechanisms available that offer a proven compliance framework to prevent bribery risks. So we're going to unpack this conversation with Mohammed. How are you doing this afternoon?
Afternoon, Bridget, and afternoon, South Africa. I'm very well. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Just a small little correction. I am the Managing Director of Worldwide Industrial and Systems Engineers, WIs, but we help companies with implementation of ISO standards.
Oh, I see. Thank you so much for that one. So Worldwide Industrial and Systems Engineers. How are you doing this afternoon? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Not too bad. I'm good. I think the weather is we're all hoping it's warming up, coming up into September. So looking forward to that, I suppose.
Absolutely. I mean, let's talk about this. Let's talk about South Africa as it relates to business and bribery and corruption, perhaps, whatever word one might choose to insert there. How do we fare in as far as just the global picture goes?
Yeah, so I think the first point is to perhaps look at which organization or transparent agency can be able to, rate corruption holistically, globally, as many countries as possible. So there is an organization called Transparency International. .org, and they have a corruption perception index, and they have a specific criteria of how they actually weight up corruption, and they collect data and statistics based on the amount of cases, that are being presented and that are official or unofficial. So, if you look at transparencyinternational.org, out of 180 countries, and you're looking at possibly about 26 odd countries that have not been included in these 180 because the data may be flawed or the information that may have come through was not accurate enough for them to be able to, regard into this particular, study. So out of 180 countries, where 180 is the worst, performing country when it comes to corruption, you are looking at number one being the best. South Africa is, you could say, in the middle. We're sitting at 82, in terms of the most corrupt, if you want to look at it.
Yeah.
And I think the factor here that is to be discussed is that say about 6 years ago, or maybe 7 years ago, to be exact, and I think it was 2018 or so, we were ranked number 42. So that was the least corrupt, so we were actually performing quite well.
Yeah.
And then in the last 7 years, we have basically dropped double to where we were, down to the ranking of 82nd. And we are now closing closer and closer to the 100th mark, which is not a good sign for our country as a whole. And that's where, international companies, they sort of red list you, or they, look at you as corrupt, and they impose more stringent, requirements before they want to do foreign investment, including getting loans from the World Bank, etc.
As we try to understand this index, right, as put out by Transparency International, talk to us, Mohammed, about maybe some of the measurement metrics that are used to say which country is the most corrupt. What kind of gauge is used there?
Yeah, sure. So I'll give you a little bit of an idea of, if you go to transparency.org, and you'll see some of the countries that are listed, such as the most corrupt, and then looking at how the CPI uses a scale from 0 to 100, and exactly how, the climate crisis, undue influence, dirty money, money laundering, all this, how that it actually make up this particular index, that is used to be able to determine as being corrupt or uncorrupt, for that matter. So if you want to dive into detail, there's a lot of requirements. It's a CPI score, and that basically looks at a lot of things in terms of the country's financial hubs, illicit funds in terms of how they're managing their particular funds, or whether it's international transfer or local transfer, dirty money in terms of money laundering, corruption cases that have been brought forward to the particular court and deemed to be actually correct, and the evidence was sufficient enough. So there's multiple criteria that they look into when they're determining your corruption perception index. Remember, there's a key word here. Also, there's the word perception, and the perception is based a lot amongst the study that gets done out by research companies on the normal citizens like yourself and myself, which, yes, to a certain degree is subjective. So they take that in the weighting of around 20% before the 80% is considered from the facts in terms of all the things that are brought forward from the money laundering incidents, citizens that are causing crime internally as well as out of the country, the different money laundering instances that are coming in, the political instability that you may have, and the particular media bringing forward with facts exactly, justification of cases that lead to corruption. So those are what's brought in. I think more information can be looked at transparency.org. That's the website where, the normal South Africans can go and just verify and validate my particular, comment that I'm making. But if you want to look at the most corrupt, I won't go through all of them, but I'm going to look at the top 5 from the bottom of the index. So you're sitting at South Sudan being the most corrupt. You've got Somalia as a close second. You've got Venezuela, you've got Syria, and then you've got Yemen. Now, if you look at these countries, most of these countries have been struck by war, and once there's war and there's political instability, there's no government, there's no formal structure, there's a lot of hustling that gets done out of law to be able to survive. And also it has a lot to do with sanctions being posed or, not being posed, and how the countries are perceived to go towards, maybe a more communism rule as opposed to the more favorable West capitalism rule. So that's basically, you'll see that the index gives you those as the most corrupt countries. And then if you're looking at the countries which are the least corrupt, according to transparencyinternational.org, you're looking at Denmark being the least corrupt, Finland in number 2, Singapore in number 3, New Zealand and Luxembourg, that are the countries that are falling in to be perhaps the least corrupt. What's very interesting is if you're looking at which African country fits in, we have a country called Seychelles, which is the islands just off Africa, falling in number 18 as one of the least corrupt countries in Africa. And then obviously, if I'm not mistaken, if I just go down the ranking in 43, we've got Botswana that is sitting in, at a close second when it comes to, African countries that are actually performing quite well when it comes to corruption. Note Botswana has a small population, but nevertheless, it's actually performing well on the transparencyinternational.org website.
Wow. I mean, so much information to digest. And I think most concerning is that drop down, right? Because this is the one index that you don't want to see yourself dropping further down. The fact that we've moved from number 42 about a decade ago to number 82 as the most corrupt says a lot, perhaps, about whether or not we are winning this battle. It's a conversation that's very familiar to South Africans. We talk about maladministration, corruption. These are themes that are consistently recurring in the country and ultimately affect businesses that are owned by you and me and our listeners.
That's correct. And it's actually very sad, I mean, if you recently see, there was a media statement that was, put out by Cocta, there was a gentleman, who was, you could say an ambassador. His name was, Mpomolefe. He was in the Ekurhuleni side. He was appointed, in the position to be able to identify in the Ekurhuleni sector, generally more in the public sector, issues relating to corruption and, bring out financial irregularities and promote transparency, mostly in the city of Ekurhuleni. And unfortunately, he was gunned down, in his vehicle. So it's a very risky, it's a very delicate topic. And unfortunately, people who are with good etiquettes or ethics are trying to do the right thing are actually falling off. And this is where it's more concerning. Although we're dropping down the corruption index, people that are, liberating and trying to be able to improve, the lifestyle and just be fair, they're actually being a target, and that target is going with their lives. That's actually more concerning. Yes.
And you point out, Mohammed, that, it's unfortunate that a lot of small businesses, particularly, are finding themselves in positions where bribery becomes the only way out to succeed.
Yes. Look, I mean, I think what needs to be understood is, don't look at it as an African problem. I think that's where the misconception is. Bribery and corruption happens more so in the first world countries than it does happen in a third world country. They just decorate it more and they hide it away more, and they use the law to their benefit to get away with it. But it happens everywhere. And you can look at it from a teacher, a parent giving a teacher, a box of samosas, on a weekly basis, just to get some favoritism.
Yeah.
Or you have your soccer coach that you're obviously buying, a little bit of a Coca-Cola or whatever it may be. So these things have a ripple effect because ideally you want to be impartial, but there is a level of favoritism you're trying to build in to sway the decision to your favor. And unfortunately, small businesses are falling trapped to this because what happens is small businesses are trying to win tenders fairly and squarely. They are responding to requests, RFPs for that matter. And you will get these uncomfortable phone calls. And whether you have to mitigate the risk. This phone call could be someone from the procurement department or from the evaluation department or from the company awarding that tender RFP and highlighting that, look, if you want this tender for 600,000 Rand or R1 million, we've got a few people here that you need to be able to try and sort out in order for us to release this. This is becoming more and more a norm. Now, it could be a scam. It could be an auditing firm to be able to lure you in and obviously, dupe you in, or it could be something where, people are actually really asking for this. So it's a very difficult thing. And that's where your company values and your policy needs to stand strong. So if you stay away from corruption and you actually avoid that bribery, yes, you may not be able to get the business, but you stand true to your values. But what's happening to that? That's allowing these potential businesses to close down because they're not getting a fair chance to be able to compete with people that are willing to pay that money to be able to get that deal. And that, I think, is what's impacting our QSE and the SME market, is that if you don't know the right people and you're not being able to build before, yes, it was relationships. Now it goes beyond that now. And now that's impacting our particular SME and QSE market.
Absolutely. The question to you as you listen to our conversation with Muhammad Ali is whether or not South African businesses can survive without bribery, without falling into this trap ultimately of corruption. What has been your experience? I'd love to hear from you. You can be anonymous, of course, especially if you think there could be some blowback to you and your business. But we'd love to hear the realities on the ground. 086 2032 is the number that you can call us on, and 0614104107 is our WhatsApp line. If you want to send through a WhatsApp voice note, you are more than welcome to do so. It's fast approaching 1:30 on the Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga.
Thank you, Bridget. On the news headlines, 10 police officers have been arrested at Edenvale Police Station east of Johannesburg. They are accused of theft and corruption. It's alleged that the officers failed to book in items that were seized during a raid in June. The DA in Gauteng is claiming that motorists in Johannesburg are being increasingly victimized due to alleged political interference in the Johannesburg Metropolitan Police Department operations. In a shocking claim, officers say that they are under pressure to collect 7,000 rands each in daily traffic fines. And the lawyer representing the Zambian government has disputed reports that the late former President Edgar Lungu was persecuted in his home country. Proceedings are underway in the High Court in Pretoria. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
Good day, Bridget, and welcome. Look, in South Africa, it is really now a policy, particularly in local governance. It is policy that when you have to get a job, you must pay something. I don't know what's going on. And the other thing is that, Bridget, our officials and political parties, you know, in some municipalities, officials are instructed to give those who are card-carrying members of certain organizations, they must be given tenders and they must be given opportunities. So we are screwed in South Africa. This is Romeo from Port.
Romeo, thank you so much for that. And the sad thing, Mohammed, is I think what Romeo speaks to, it's almost become part of business culture. In South Africa, it's almost become an acceptable way of just how business goes. And I recall, 15 years or so back, long before I ever got into talk radio, that was almost the reputation of doing business in territories like Nigeria. People would go, oh, it's almost given that you must do something. You must grease somebody in order for your thing to go through or be approved or whatever. And it's not a reputation that I think any one country wants to have. I don't even think it's a reputation that Nigeria wants to have.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, if you go to Nigeria and want to do business in Nigeria, it has become the norm. They'll actually tell you up front 30% needs to be kept for whoever it is that is issuing you the deal, So it's totally become part of the culture and acceptance to wanting to do business in that sense, which is actually quite sad. Because yes, someone is being employed to do their work, but in order to award the work to someone else to be able to execute their own work, they need to be paid 30% more than what they're currently getting from a project to be able to execute the work, which doesn't have enough financial. So they always put up a markup. And at the end of the day, it hurts the country, it hurts the economy. And we are slowly falling down that particular window where you can't do business without this happening. And even when people apply for these government positions, they are expecting that. You can see it's becoming a norm where everywhere you go, there is being asked. If you go up to North Africa, even, if you go to Egypt, from the time you get off the airport, someone just helping you, they will call it bukshish. Bukshish is a way of giving help, and they're looking for it from everywhere. It's become part of their culture. And that's why it's very scary. We're not pouncing on this quick enough, or we're not paying attention to it well enough. And that's where the international companies, like, for example, what Trump may have done on his tariffs, but may not be directly impacting us from a corruption point of view. But it's where international companies that want to come in and do foreign investment, purchase a company or do business with South Africans, they've red flagged us. They have red flagged us to a point where they're saying, look, can we see whether or not you have a whistleblowing policy, whether you have an anti-bribery management system? What exactly do we have? Because they are listed in the JSE or they're in the New York Stock Exchange, and they don't want their reputation to be compromised because they're dealing with a company in South Africa, the country, South Africa as a whole, is red listed when it comes to corruption. And they don't want to compromise them, so they don't want to fund, they don't want to bring foreign investment. And the South Africans are saying, well, keep your money, we don't need that, we're happy, we've got enough this idea. But trust me, that will actually run out. Your economy will go down, the value of your currency will go down, and you will see that if you cannot utilize your particular finances effectively because certain percentages going for bribery and extortion, you cannot execute the work, and which means you're going to fall short and you're going to get substandard quality, which now has a hindrance to all the taxpayers that are swaying away to be able to try and make sure that whatever roads, whatever lights, whatever service delivery you're getting, you get the best. And we're not even getting the basic necessities of living,
Yeah.
where water's a question, electricity is a question. And that's where our concerns should be.
I want to jump Tiani in Kempton Park on this, find out your perspective. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you. Go ahead.
Since I've when I was still young, I registered a company when I was still young, and one day I was called to come and sign a letter of appointment to do this food nutrition thing for the schools. I did that. Before I even get to buy the supply that I have to supply to school, I was asked, you see, we have your letter here. What is it in for us? It happened for 5-6 years. It was like that. I was getting these food nutrition tenders. But to my surprise, the time I said to myself, no, I'm no longer paying these people any money because this is the money that I'm buying food to distribute to different schools.
Yeah.
It stopped happening like that. And then the second time, they came with a letter, a bid for again to supply meat for agricultural college in Limpopo. It was adjudicated. It was fine. I was it was a 3-year tender. But before I could get that letter to sign and to show that yes, it's awarded to you, I was asked for 300,000 rand, of which I didn't have by that time.
Yeah.
I couldn't raise the 300,000 rand for the tender. And it stopped like that. Till to date, there's nothing coming in my side, they say, because there's nothing that you're offering on the table.
Yeah.
It's happening I even gave up of applying for tendering, because every time I have to tender, I have to
pay
someone's
a
hand.
little Jojo. Thank you so much for sharing that experience with us. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, especially those who deal with various governmental departments and sectors. But it's also, Mohammed, I don't know, it's also not a public sector thing, right? As much as the perception is it's far more rife in the public sector.
100%. I think people have got the conception totally wrong. You won't believe it is happening more in the private companies than it is happening in the public companies. Being an auditor, you will see that it's blatant in the private companies, because what they would do is they would create their particular tender process to suit a specific vendor, which is exactly the same thing, and people are actually benefiting from this. Big corporations that you see on the highway are doing this on a daily basis. And they call them like a cabal, for example, for that, for lack of a better word, and they keep this within that particular cabal. And if anyone comes within that particular range, whether it's a better price, whether it's with a better BE, whether it's with a better quality product, you'll never be given entry to it, because the criteria of selecting a specific potential vendor will always be, aligned to a few, which may not even have good quality and will be 10 times the price, but you'll never be able to get it. And because it's 10 times the price, there are people benefiting from this. And it's a lot in the private sector. It's everywhere. Like I mentioned, whether it's, a samosas to a teacher or a particular, a slush to your coach, it is being done in every single way with the intention of it being, indirect but sort of direct. And it's more so in the private sector than you think. Yes, public sector, there's much more thorough audits and independencies of impartial audits being done. But in private companies, the auditors themselves sometimes can be questionable. And these big firms have been brought to question, which is a good thing nevertheless.
Absolutely. I just want to jump to this final voice note, and maybe we'll come back and you'll give us some pointers as to, what can organizations do to safeguard themselves and their businesses, perhaps, against such practice.
Good day, my sister and the listeners. To find a job in South Africa is not easy. Unless if you have the money to buy that job, it will be easy. You're speaking to Shiman Mambana from Ratisana, Limpopo. Thank you.
Hey, it's a difficult. Thank you so much for that. As we wrap it up, Mohammed, your recommendations for businesses, perhaps, and I know you speak around, you alluded around policies that speak to accountability and transparency.
Yeah, 100%. I want to just say of the list, the voice note that came through. I do agree. Even I was introduced to a country in Asia, Bangladesh, where you have to actually pay someone to get a job. You know, it's so sad. You can get a degree, but you've got to pay someone in order for them to consider your CV to get a job. So that's also something becoming more and more common in South Africa, which is sad. But just to get through to your question and to try and come up with an answer, I think I'm going to use two case studies to be able to help you answer, the question that you have. And the first case study is economical based. So you will see that in my transparencyinternational.org, I mentioned a country that's in the top 5 when it comes to the least corrupt, and that being Singapore. It's actually currently sitting at number 3. But 50 years ago, in Singapore was regarded as one of the most corrupt Asian countries ever. So every single business and trade was going through Singapore, but it was done very incorrectly. However, what had happened was the leadership changed and total accountability came with the highest form of, discretion put into people that were found to be corrupt. So there was a specific minister, this is a case study, true, we learned it in university, who used the public sector money for his own private gain. And when it was identified with the new leadership team and it was brought forward, he was given a life sentence in prison, to make an example. And I think without these examples with the law, and yes, we need some particular assistance with our judicial system, because you can't go and impose this if you don't have a strong judicial system that is also not benefiting, in the wrong way. So you need to have impartiality. You need to be able to make sure the pay index is good enough where you do not get, lured into, an extra 100,000 rand, whatever it is that's coming through your way. So first and foremost, I think it comes with your economy, your leadership, and your particular policies that the country implements with the highest level of accountability when this is identified.
Mohammed?
So when these examples are made, then you can see the benefit of it. So that's one section. I'll leave it to you.
Unfortunately, we fast run out of time, but I think that's a good note to leave it on, because it speaks to a multi-pronged approach. That was Mohammed Ali, who is the managing director of the consultancy Worldwide Industrial and Systems Engineers. And of course, they look at standardization, standards and systems implementation on a global scale. It's just gone 20 to 2 o'clock. We're going to take a quick pause, and then we come back and we catch up with the folks from the University of Joburg.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
Catching up now with Peter Jacobs, who's the head of UJ Arts and Culture. And the University of Johannesburg's Arts and Culture is calling for applications for internships in related industries. How are you doing this afternoon?
Well, thank you, Bridget. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. I'm great. Good to be back with everybody this afternoon. Let's jump straight into it. So funded by the Culture, Art, Tourism, Hospitality and Sports Sector Education and Training Authority, the UJ Arts and Culture, you guys are providing opportunities for youth. Tell us a bit more about, just the genesis of this partnership and this particular program.
Bridget, we've been running this internship program since 2023, and it is really an amazing program and something that we absolutely love to do. In the ethos of a university, empowering young minds is exactly what we're about, and this is one way that we are able to do that and to give them life and work experience at the same time. So we currently are advertising for 17 internships available starting at the end of this year in December, and it will run until the end of November next year. And that is specifically in the arts. So we're looking at copywriting, multimedia, hospitality, and performing arts administration.
And it's a wonderful range of internships as well. And this speaks a lot to, as you say, skills development, but also giving students and young people that much needed job experience that's oftentimes called for, and they're told that it's lacking when they go out into the workforce.
Absolutely. There's no substitute for practical experience. And one emphasis of this program is, doing exactly that and increasing professionalism, giving them the experience to actually go and be able to fit into the corporate world or, whatever they are pursuing. So, yes, it's a stepping stone.
Yeah. Talk to us, Peter, around the criteria for this. I guess the first question off the bat, folks would be wondering, well, do I need to be a UJ alumni?
No, not at all. So the requirements are a little bit different for all of the different internships, but most the thread that runs through all of them is that you need a postgraduate degree and a relevant qualification in the field that you're applying. So if you want to do copywriting or multimedia, then you needed to study in that field. But a degree is definitely something that you will require to participate in this call, yes.
The importance as well of this partnership with the Culture, Art, Tourism, Hospitality and Sports Sector Education and Training Authority. How does that partnership lend itself to the gravitas of this particular internship?
The CETAs have been doing this kind of work for many, many years, long before we started running this program. And we are very happy to be partnering with them, and it is developing into a long-standing partnership. It's funded by the government, and they've been investing in young people for many, many years. And what makes this particular program unique is that we are also placing interns at other institutions and organizations. So they're not only working at the University of Johannesburg. There are several other outlets. This year we've got Joburg Ballet, we've got internships, and also we've placed them across the university, not only at UJ Arts and Culture. So they will be working, some of them at the Faculty of Art, Design and Architecture. So it is very broad, and of course, CAPCITA is enabling this multi-disciplinary approach to skills development for the youth.
And just by way of the application process as well as the deadline, I mean, I know that you did emphasize that each one of the internships is different and nuanced to the sector and the field, but obviously having that postgrad or a related qualification is the common underlying thread. How do young folks apply for this, and when is the deadline?
So the deadline is the 26th of August. So that is the date we are chasing. And then the easiest is to go to arts.uj.ac.za. And if they go to the news tab there, they will find everything they need.
Wonderful stuff. That was Peter Jacobs, head of UJ Arts and Culture. So there's that internship available for you there. They're looking for, 17 internships available that are related to the fields of copywriting, multimedia, hospitality, and the performing arts administration. If you have a postgrad or relevant qualification, you can log on to UJ Arts at uj.ac.za. That's UJ Arts at uj.ac.za for more information on this one. Or you can send them an email inquiry. Actually, that's the email address. So you can send them an email inquiry to that address, or you can log on to UJ's website for more details. Let's take a quick pause here, and then we'll come back on the other side of this. It is Women's Month after all, and we're going to look at a program that sets out to empower women in drone technology and aviation.
Niger and Guinea both believe they will conquer the 90 minutes in the West African Derby. Who will celebrate the final whistle? This is the Total Energies African Nations Championship 2024. Catch Niger versus Guinea this Monday, 4 August at 4 p.m. Live at your fingertips on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
The councillor, Dambuza, of the EFF, was choked to the point of unconsciousness. I trust you're okay now, health-wise?
I'm fine, although some of the body pains now are starting to kick in, but I'm fine.
So And I'm glad for that. Tell us what happened from your side.
We always, in the City of Cape Town Council, have a speaker that can run the council through the rules. She does not understand them, and she always needs to be given assistance to understand them.
Ashraf Gada on SAFM. Find the podcast at safm.co.za.
SAFM, leading the conversation.
So the University of South Africa, that's UNISA, my alumni, me. The University of South Africa's Inhlanyelo Hub has announced the official launch of Drone Divas Cohort 3. And we're going to find out more about, what does this program entail and the benefits. It's a program that sets out to empower women in drone technology and aviation. We're chatting with Prof. Anna Marie Davis now as the project leader here, entrepreneurship and new venture creation for UNISA students. How are you doing this afternoon, Prof?
Bridget, good afternoon. I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for the time. So when we think about drone technology, before we even get into the program, when we think about drone technology and the advancements thereof, as well as aviation, I guess coupling the two of them together, it's still spaces that a lot of women probably have not fully exploited and penetrated.
Absolutely. I remember when I was in school many years ago, when you page through the Careers 2000 booklet for aviation sector, women, we were destined for either sales clerks in the ticket office or air hostesses. So aviation sector has always been limited in terms of opportunities for women. And if you combine that with the growth in the drone economy and the industry, then it is a good opportunity for us to break down barriers for women to enter that industry.
Are we having enough of a conversation around mobilizing young women's interests in this? Because I know in different silos, there are people who've been drumming up the fact that, we've put women pilots through school, or we're focusing on women pilots. But it almost seems as much as we emphasize on STEM, we don't also hone in on specifics like these particular industries.
I think you're absolutely right, Bridget, and I think that's the reason why we started with this program 2 years ago. We really saw the gap in the market, and we give preference to students of UNISA in the STEAM sectors, that's science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And it's very specific in the drone application. And the use of drones, it's a tool that can be used in their professions. And I think that's where we have almost set the bar in terms of this program, because the ultimate aim is not just for our students to be trained in the remote pilot certification of flying a drone. It takes them to an advanced program where they can fly beyond visual line of sight, but then it's also about establishing women-owned drone businesses. And that is the initiative that we have through Inhlanyelo, and ultimately that's what we're working towards. So the first step of the program is really just to get the RPC, and then to think in terms of application to start businesses. And I think that's where the change will happen.
Yeah. I mean, let's unpack the program in its entirety, and it falls under the Inhlanyelo Hub at the University of South Africa.
Absolutely. So Inhlanyelo Hub was established about 4 years ago through a decision by council, thinking about graduate unemployment and having a unit dedicated within the institution that specifically looks towards creating opportunities for students to be not job seekers, but employers, changing that whole mindset of graduate unemployment, but I can curb that effect because I can start my own business, especially while still studying. So then we identified the drone industry as a growing industry, and we have other programs also aimed at women specifically to develop businesses. So within Inhlanyelo, we have a program ideation. It's the idea of creating an idea, testing it, validating it in the market, and then potentially pitching it and starting a business that we then couple in terms of business mentoring, counseling, a coaching that is assigned. We also even offer incubation services, shared office space, and all of that is available to any student within the University of South Africa, alumni member or a staff member. But for the drone program specifically, we received a grant, and that grant specification is it must be currently registered students, and we give preference to science, engineering, technology, mathematics, and arts. So when the program started in 2023, we had about 25 applications. In 24, we had 292 applications. And just now, with this last application cycle, we had 1,624 applications. And Bridget, unfortunately, we only have space and funding for 20 young ladies to join the program. But that gives you an indication of the interest in the industry, in the program, but also of the absolute desire of young women to be recognized in the aviation sector.
Absolutely. I mean, there's quite a jump from 25 to well over 1,000, as you say. It's a good sort of indicator in a market to the demand and the interest, which also speaks to perhaps how big is the potential in the drone industries in South Africa.
Absolutely. We launched this program on Friday, firstly celebrating the new cohort of 20 young ladies who joined the program. But then we also offered the certification and the wings of 3 of the drone pilots from our cohort of Cape Town from last year. And part of the conversation was one of our guest speakers who is a drone pilot, young woman, but she's also a commercial pilot who completed her license during the COVID period. And she mentioned some of the statistics of the drone industry that is growing at tremendous pace. And I think maybe as the hub, we have identified more than one area for growth and development for women and for the sector.
I think also part of the work that you guys are doing with the Inhlanyelo Hub at UNISA, and correct me if I'm wrong, also speaks to developing entrepreneurial universities that answer societal challenges, right? And what necessitates that shift? That shift in focus for a university in order to just ensure that you're plugging into solutions. And we talk a lot about jobs for the future and gearing for that.
Absolutely. So the entrepreneurial in university drive is something that's also driven from national government side through the Department of Higher Education and Training. And within DET, we have ED, which is Entrepreneurial Development Higher Education. And their efforts are within different institutions, but driving entrepreneurship development within the institutions. And it might be a little bit easier in terms of residential institutions, but within the University of South Africa, you can imagine our students are all over, and we don't have students on campus on a daily basis. But what gives us the benefit is we have more than 26 regional offices. So the entrepreneurial university movement is inculcating the idea of earning an income, of creating opportunities for others, because often we quote and we say, but the jobs that we are training our students for today are outdated. The future is different. And we celebrate at UNISA amazing graduation numbers every year, but we also need to recognize that graduate unemployment is a reality. And if we can change the mindset of our students to almost start developing businesses while they're studying, using their qualification as a profession, as a potential business, and earning an income from that, then we might curb the realities of graduate unemployment as well.
Absolutely. Prof. Anna Marie Davis, we appreciate the time with you. Prof is the project leader there of the Entrepreneurship and New Venture Creation for UNISA students, the Inhlanyelo Hub, and they've got an incredible program there focusing on getting more women into drone and aviation, drone technology and aviation. You heard her talk about just the exponential growth that they've seen since launching the program in 2023 to where it's at now in 2025. As we approach the 1 o'clock hour with Ondela standing by with the top of the hour news on the other side, or rather the 2 o'clock hour on the other side of 2, we are checking in with you. Your mid-year check-in this is your career still on track? How's that going? We'd love to know from you. You can give us a shout on 086 000 2032 or 061 410 4107 is our WhatsApp line.
Thank you, Bridget. On the top stories, 10 officers arrested in Ekurhuleni, and Transport Department welcomes the clean audit outcomes. For SAFM News, I am Ondelambana, and a very good day. 10 police officers have been arrested at Edenvale Police Station, east of Johannesburg. They are accused of theft and corruption. It's alleged that the officers failed to book in items that were seized during a raid in June. Criselda Lewis has more details.
We have 6 members of the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department, and we have 4 members from the South African Police Service. We do understand that the raid itself was meant to be effected this morning, but of course for all the paperwork that had to be processed, the police officers, some of them in this particular vehicle and the others that are in here, have been cuffed, and the charges that they're facing, we do understand, relate to alleged theft as well as alleged corruption.
Minister of International Relations and Cooperation Ronald Lamula has urged South Africans to exercise patriotism whenever they travel outside the country. He says the country is facing turbulent times due to current trade relations with the U.S. government. South Africa is responding to U.S. tariffs with a comprehensive plan. The 30% tariff recently announced by the Trump administration will take effect this Thursday. Lamula addressed the media in Pretoria.
All of us as South Africans, irrespective of our political affiliations, whether you are an opposition, NGO, business, or in government, GNU, partner, or anything, once you get out of South Africa, we all have a responsibility to promote the national interest of South Africa in a positive way, particularly when stakes are high, like now, during these complex negotiations with the U.S. It is against this background that I said that the approach that the President and the South African government has taken of being measured, of refraining, even sometimes out of extreme provocation, is on the basis of the understanding of what is at stake.
A National Council of Provinces delegation from KwaZulu-Natal is meeting with the Provincial Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi today. They're engaging with police management to find out more about the circumstances under which the police operate and how they can offer help. The delegation's leader, Mzamo Billy, says this week is dedicated to NCOP members going back to their respective provinces and address issues raised in engagements, including crime and the shortage of resources in rural areas.
And part of our responsibility is to conduct oversights, is to liaise with municipalities, with government entities to enhance and bring issues of the province to the national sphere. And this forms part of our stakeholder engagements, which we are having for the next few months. On Wednesday, we're meeting with the Premier and the Cabinet just to say that we as NCOP delegates in Parliament are wanting to be used, are wanting to assist, bring matters to Parliament that are of concern to the province. And for this visit, we've identified SAPS as one of the stakeholders that need to be engaged.
Transport Minister Barbara Chrissy and Deputy Minister Mkhuleko Hlengwa have welcomed the department's clean audit outcome from the Auditor General of South Africa. They say they see it as a step toward a fully accountable administration. The department spokesperson Colleen Msibi say the Auditor General found no significant deficiencies in the department's financial management processes.
This is the first time in 31 years that the department has achieved a clean audit outcome.
The lawyer representing the Zambian government has disputed reports that the late former President Edgar Lungu was persecuted in his home country. Proceedings are underway in the High Court in Pretoria, where the Zambian government is challenging Lungu's final resting place. Lungu passed away at a Pretoria hospital in June. The Lungu family has opted for a private ceremony in South Africa, while the Zambian government wants his body to be repatriated back home for a full state funeral. Advocate Ben Stoop has argued that there aren't any facts that have been presented in court which demonstrate that Lungu was ever persecuted in Zambia.
What we do seek to strike is where there are references to persecution, that the president fled Zambia. Those allegations, we say, have no place here because they are simply not the truth. Well, there are no facts to back them up, and that's why we say they must be struck.
Recapping the top story, 10 police officers have been arrested at Edenvale Police Station, east of Johannesburg. They are accused of theft and corruption. It's alleged that the officers failed to book in items that were seized during a raid in June. I am Ondelambana for SAFM News Headlines at 2:30.
Breaking news. SARS has enhanced the personal income tax return form. It has simpler questions that adapt to your income and deductions based on your answers. Whether you're employed or self-employed, the digital form has built-in guidance and the option to save and finish later. Tax matters, so does your time. File with ease on e-filing or the SARS Mobi app today. Go to sars.gov.za. SARS, at your service.
Niger and Guinea both believe they will conquer the 90 minutes in the West African Derby. Who will celebrate the final whistle? This is the Total Energies African Nations Championship 2024. Catch Niger versus Guinea this Monday, 4 August at 4 p.m. Live at your fingertips on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, the 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. You are listening to The Full Circle.
Jarabi ma feganyala nyina nterini ngabe disa nekanu I want to know. So I'm So my dad in Anapolisa, Clement Bebe, so go.
She was here last year. I had a groupie moment. I fanned out. I fangirled. I'm not ashamed to share these things with you because we're family. She was here last year. She was one of the headline performances at the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz. I had my groupie moment. She was so accommodating. I had a legitimate groupie moment where I was standing in the corner of the room watching her eat her dinner, waiting for the appropriate time for me to jump in and say, "Can I get my picture?" And yeah, once you're done with that drumstick, "Can I get my picture?" But she was ever so gracious, had a lovely conversation, took pictures, took videos, and she gave a stellar performance at the Joy of Jazz. One of my producers was also there that evening. And it was absolutely incredible. We get to do it again this year, but this year we get to do it with another incredible songbird. Yes, the other or two is coming. Omu Sangara is coming into the country. My tech producer is looking at me as though I'm spewing out some foreign names. Omu Sangara is coming through this year for the Joy of Jazz. If you haven't yet procured your tickets, I think you must do yourself a favor and do exactly that. Right now, though, we are catching up. Mid-year check-in. Is your career still on track? It's where are we? Beginnings of August. We are well into the second half of the year. Over 80% of people don't follow through with their New Year's resolutions. I mean, this is kind of the recurring conversation year in, year out, right? So you're not alone in as far as that is concerned, not following through with your New Year's resolutions. But however, when it comes to your career and some of the goals that you set out for yourself, are you still on track with that at very least? The things that you needed to do in order to either get yourself to the next level, to ensure that you've put the foundation for the next phase of your career, to align yourself and set yourself up in a prime position to exploit whatever opportunity there might be in your sector or in your organization. How are you in as far as that is concerned? I'd love to hear from you. 086 000 2032 and 0614104107 is our WhatsApp line. Dr. Jane Usher joins us now, who is an MBA program coordinator, to weave us through this conversation. How are you this afternoon?
I'm very well, thanks. And you, Bridget?
I'm incredible, Dr. Jane. Incredible. It's a recurring theme, right? We set ourselves up these grand plans at the beginning of the year. We have these conversations about where we want to be, career trajectory, but then the year unfolds and sometimes things don't go according to plan.
Exactly. And I think this year, I'm not sure if you feel the same way, but it's gone unbelievably quickly.
Yeah.
And we're so busy with getting things done and meeting all our deadlines that we forget to take time to actually see where we are in relationship to our goals. And especially so when you've woken up on New Year's morning and said, "Oh, okay, this is what I'm going to do." Those kind of goals often, go out the window. But some of them do stick. And especially when it comes to a career, what are you doing in your career? Where do you want to be?
Yeah.
And so I feel that this time of year is actually the best time to take time out, take stock of where you are, what have you done up till now? Was it in line with some goals that you put down, or did you not do any goals? Did you just think, I'm just going to, these are ones that I'm not going to write down any New Year's resolutions. And that's also fine. Because now's the time to say, okay, what do I want to achieve? Where am I?
Yeah.
And really take time out to do that. And decide again, why am I doing these things? Why am I getting up at 5 o'clock and training for a marathon that I actually don't want to do, or something like that? Or how am I going to manage being stressed by this boss that I actually am clashing with all the time?
Yeah.
So now is the time to write down, this is where I am, this is actually what I want to be doing. And then also celebrate your progress, see where you are, and then think, okay, now, what have I been doing that has helped me? And what have I been doing that has hindered me? And so now you can refocus your energy and kind of move in a new direction, or the same direction, but just with renewed energy.
And I think I like what you're saying, Dr. Jane, because it speaks to a lot of advice that you hear from successful entrepreneurs and successful change makers, business leaders. I'm thinking of Emma Grady, who a lot of people might not be familiar with. She is the CEO and founder of Good American, which is a really incredible denim apparel brand globally, right? And at the beginning of the year, she speaks a lot about empowerment and business and strategizing. At the beginning of the year, she set out to ask a few questions, and she said, round about December, January, I carve out some time to ask myself some honest questions. And I look back at the goals that I didn't achieve, particularly in the year that has gone. And I ask myself, what were the main reasons that I couldn't get there? And she goes, this question requires a lot of honesty. It requires a lot of self-examination. You got to sit with the truth of why it is August and you are not on track with where you said you wanted to be.
Exactly. And I think that honesty it's so important, and to be able to use it in a positive way and not then just beat yourself up about it because you didn't do it. So being honest with yourself is so important, because we do often tend to lie to ourselves and make excuses. It was so-and-so that hindered me and I couldn't actually write my exam or something like that. And so I think that's very good advice. And now might be a time to do that, to just stop for a few hours. And it's not a once-off exercise, I don't feel.
Yeah.
I think you need to see where you are, and then why is this important to me? Where do I want to stay in this career track? If you're talking about career, or if we might be talking about health, do I want to keep doing what I'm doing? Or what can I do or need to do to move me slightly so that I can achieve the goal? Absolutely. Because we also want to do big things, huge things, but it takes those consistent efforts that you put into place, those small habits that then can move you. But it's that constant reflection, I think, that is important for us.
Absolutely. Let's take a quick pause here. We'll come back on the other side of this, and we'd love to turn this into a pseudo family meeting. So 086 000 2032 and 061 410 4107. Where are you at in terms of just being on track with your career goals, what you set out to do when we entered 2025? You had a vision, you had a plan, you knew where you wanted to be by the time the year comes to a wrap. And where are you as it stands right now? Where are we now? The 4th of August. I'd love to hear from you. It's at 20 past 2 o'clock on The Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga.
The Uganda Cranes have a huge responsibility to exhilarate their fans on home soil. Meanwhile, the Desert Foxes believe they will prevail away from home. This is the Total Energies African Nations Championship 2024. Catch Uganda versus Algeria this Monday, 4 August at 7 p.m. Live everywhere, for everyone on SABC+. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
This Women's Month, SAFM stands with the women shaping South Africa's future. under the theme Building Resilient Economies for All. We honor the pioneers, the problem solvers, and the everyday heroes driving change. Stay tuned as SAFM brings you powerful stories and meaningful conversations that move us. SAFM, celebrating women, celebrating progress. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
So we're checking in with ourselves, we're checking in with you as to where you are. It's mid-year, it's August the 4th. How are you? Are you still on track with, particularly when it comes to your career, right? We focused on your career and what you set out to do for yourself, how you intended to use the year 2025, even if the plan wasn't one that was going to pay immediate dividends, but you needed to put things in place this year to set you up maybe for 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line. Have you managed to put those things in place? We'd love to know from you. 086 000 2032 is our in-studio call line, and 061 410 4107 is our WhatsApp line. Dr. Jane Usher is joining us here, and she's an MBA program coordinator. And I think a lot of times, Dr. Jane, folks would get into a career crossroads, right? Where they're needing to make a shift, some kind of shift, get some kind of skill, pivot in some kind of way. But even that, you may know that you need to do something, but getting the right steps or strategizing to break down what those steps are in order for you to do it could be where the stumble lies.
Definitely. And those crossroads that we come to, I think, especially these days, we need to understand that it's not like, I want to say, in the olden days, where you were in one career for your life. Now we have a variety of careers, and which is quite exciting, because you need to, though, then be adaptable. So you might not be at the same place for 20 years, and you need to really understand what it is that you want to do, and then find out what skills, competencies, qualifications you need in order to move yourself in another direction. And that can be quite daunting, I must say, to actually see, so what do I need to do? If I want to do A, B, and C. You might have been working for 5 years, 10 years, and you want to move completely. And so that is quite a difficult thing to come to terms with. And then to find out, what do I need to do? And nowadays, I think it's really exciting, because we've got our formal qualifications, which are very good. They're vital to have. You need that. But we've also got short learning programs that people can do, whether it's fully online, whether it may be a LinkedIn Learning module that you do, or a Udemy one, or you go to a university for a short learning program, to get a taste of what it is that you think you want. So those are ways to go about seeing what skills you need. Another thing is to see what is available, what is on LinkedIn and PNet, what are the skills that the jobs that you are interested in are looking for, and start moving into finding out, okay, where can I learn this specific skill? And we come back to lifelong learning. I think it's been a term that's been bandied around for a long time, and people think, oh, but we definitely need to keep learning and keep that growth mindset, especially in the time that we are now with these rapid technological changes, which are frightening on one hand, but so exciting on the other hand.
Yeah, and I was about to point that out as well, Dr. Jane, to say that it is such an interesting era that we live in, right? Because things are changing so rapidly. and the requirements for you know, a lot of the current jobs. I know we often speak about future proofing for future jobs, but a lot of the current jobs that are there have had to incorporate different technologies, different innovations in order to be, you know, streamlined, do things in a more efficient, proficient way. And that means you upskilling and stepping up what is required from you. You know, and some people might find that perhaps even there's too much of an option out there. You know, if someone wants to pivot, then they go, oh, my goodness, pivoting means now I have to choose from 10 different options, and that in itself can be daunting.
Exactly. And so that's where, again, we come back to kind of your own self-reflection and reflexivity. I think that, for me, is becoming more and more important to do and to make time for, because of the fast pace that we're in. And again, looking at there's so many options, as you said. So you need to know specifically what you want to do on a daily basis in this new job or new career that you've looked at. And then also talk to people, find out what is required. There are lots of people who are, most people are actually quite willing to help. So find out, if I did this, do you think it would help me? Speak to recruiters, look on LinkedIn, and see what those small things are, and start. Really, just you need to make a start. And now is the time to just don't wait till next year to enroll in a qualification, an MBA or whatever. You can start now, because you've got 6 months on 2026. So it's quite exciting now that you can actually get a bit of a jump on, especially if you're looking at doing a formal qualification. Start now.
Sure. I mean, daunting. Does it speak to what is called action planning, creating that focused roadmap for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think so. And I think plan backwards. See, what do you want to have done by, say, let's say the 5th of December, because December in South Africa is a bit of a write-off. So what do you want to have done? And work backwards. So what can you do from a formal qualification? What could you do now? What is there in kind of micro learning that you could do?
Yeah.
And what books are you going to look at and read? There's so many books and small bits of learning that you can start incorporating into your life. And it just, the more curious you are, it will eventually fall into place what you need to be doing.
Absolutely.
But don't wait.
And I think that is the takeaway for this afternoon is don't wait, because a lot of folks would go, oh, but Dr. Jane, I've got, as you said, December's a write-off. I've got 4 months left. What do I do in 4 months' time? But that is a lot of time for you to do something that's impactful.
Exactly. And you know what, if you've written it down, because that for me is also a very important thing, write it down so you can actually track where you are. If you've got a nebulous thing that is in the sky and you're visualizing it, that's great, but you need to also then come down to earth and say, okay, I have done A, B, and C, or I haven't done A, B, and C, so now what am I going to do? To really give you that momentum to move on for 2026, which, as we know, it's coming very, very quickly.
Yeah, no, that's true. You've given us some good advice, and hopefully one or two of our listeners has managed to put the reset button. That was Dr. Jane Usher, and she is an MBA program coordinator. Just checking in with you, as we often do on this show. We check in to see where you are with some of those goals that we set out for ourselves, because I think part of the intention of the show, and we're very intentional with my producers, is that we want to be better. Want to be better for ourselves, better, for our families with each and every single year. And so we will check in. We will hold each other accountable, you and me, to what we wanted to do when we wrapped up 2024. Here's a little bit of advice also from Emma Grady, and she says, one of the other things that she does is she asks herself, what are the 3 things that she wishes she did more in the outgoing year? the things that spark joy, because sometimes you just need to reignite the happiness and the joy inside of you in order to re-energize you to get done what needs to be done in the following year, right? It's that balancing of the scales thing. So it's just gone 2:30. We are going to take the headline news, and then we'll come back on the other side of that with some of our children's programming.
Thank you, Bridget. On the news headlines, COSATU Parliamentary Coordinator Matthew Parks says the country cannot afford further job cuts that will be due to the 30% tariff imposed by the US. SNCAP Education MEC Fundile Gade has suspended 5 learners from David Mama Senior Secondary School in Mdantsane following a bullying incident, and 10 police officers have been arrested at Edenville Police Station east of Johannesburg. They are accused of theft and corruption. It's alleged that the officers failed to book in items that were seized during a raid in June. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
This July, journey beyond the horizon with Chasing the Sun. 5 mesmerizing episodes every Sunday at 7:30 on SABC2 from 13 July to 10 August. Feel the thrill of the adventure, the power of discovery, and stories that light up the skies. Missed an episode? No worries. Stream anytime, anywhere on SABC Plus. No subscription required. Chasing the Sun. Your Sunday nights just got brighter. Tune in to SABC2, Sundays at 7:30, or watch on SABC Plus on demand.
For the love of the game.
Are you looking for the best savings on spectacles? At Specsavers, enjoy 1,500 Rand off when you get tested at South Africa's trusted and most established optical group. Get 1,500 Rand off all frames in store, or use your 1,500 Rand off on our leading lens enhancements, such as drive light lenses that reduce artificial glare whilst driving. Book online or call your nearest store today. Affordable eye care, Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
The National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
What did it say in terms of the how? So one thing is you're saying they found out that some parents are encouraging corporal punishment. I can tell you now there are many people, even at my age, who say, well, you see, those days we got a puck and it somehow worked out anyway, right?
When you become a teacher, you are given a certificate confirming that you can now teach, and you sign a code of ethics. In that code of ethics, you confirm that you will uphold the highest professional standards. If you go against that, then you must be dealt with. But also there are incidents where criminal charges can be pressed. In fact, there are incidents where teachers have been jailed for severe injuries arising from corporal punishment.
Elijah Mklanga, National Spokesperson for the Department of Basic Education.
Ashraf Garda on SAFM. Find the podcast at safm.co.za.
Oh, this is a very good one. If you haven't seen it as yet, you definitely want to mark your calendars for this one. SABC Sport brings you Chasing the Sun. It's a powerful 5-part documentary series about the Springboks, and it tells the rousing tale of their path to redemption and ultimate World Cup glory in 2019. Also, a few secrets that are unveiled in that documentary by, I think, one of the greatest coaches of our time, Rassie Erasmus. We kicked off these broadcasts on the 13th of July at 7:30 p.m. on SABC2, but you can tune in every single Sunday for the highs, the heartache, and the heroics that made rugby history. And you can stream each chapter as well on SABC Plus anytime, anywhere that you want, with absolutely no subscription needed. So you don't want to miss Chasing the Sun this Sunday at 7:30 p.m. on SABC2. Be there when history shines.
SAFM, leading the conversation.
This program is brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
Hello friends and happy Monday. Welcome to today's loving and thoughtful edition of Kids Corner. Today we're talking about something very special, family time, What is one thing you've never done with your family that you'd really love to try? Is there a place you've always wanted to visit together? What would you like to do when you get there? And if you could plan a full day of your family just for fun, what would everyone do together on the weekend? Is there something special you'd like to learn or create with a family member, maybe cooking, fixing something, or painting a picture? Most importantly, why do you think spending time with your family is important? How does it make you feel inside? Well, let's hear from some of our friends while you think about your answers and maybe even share them with your family members later.
Hello everyone, my name is Akonawa Takar. I'm 9 years old. I'm in grade 4 and the school I attend is Little Angels Christian Academy. One fun thing I would like to try with my family is to go on a roller coaster, but if it's very scary, I won't be afraid because my family is with me. I would like to visit Disney World, which is an amusement park. When I get there, I would like to go on rides, get food and eat. If I could plan a whole day with my family, I would like all of us to do an activity like camping and gazing at stars. Something special I would like to do with my dad is to play soccer. Spending time with family is important because we get to enjoy ourselves. It makes me feel happy and safe.
Hi friends, my name is Oketwa Munyai and I live in Polokwane City. I want to go skydiving and I would like to visit Dubai. I would also like to try new food in Dubai, not forgetting the chocolate I saw on TV. It looked so delicious and that will really make me happy. We will start our day with breakfast and prepare ourselves, then go rock climbing on the high mountains and go out for lunch at our favorite restaurants. Then we would end our day with a quick Bible quiz. I would like to learn how to bake because my mother is a good baker. Family is important for personal growth. Family can also offer encouragement, guidance, and creating memories. Family also influences positive behavior. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Nana Tanani and I am 12 years old. I live in Polokwane. I would like to go on a cruise with my family. I would like to go and visit New York and I would want to go and explore the city and buy all the amazing things that are there. I would like to go to Splash for a weekend and after that I would like to go to a hotel. And I would like to learn how to cook with my family, and spending time with your family is important because you will miss them when they are gone, and spending time with my family makes me feel good.
My name is Mukwana Mudau. I am 9 years old. The funny thing that I want to do with my family is to go on a road trip because me and my family have never went on a road trip. I think it's going to be nice and fun, and I want to travel to France because I would like to taste their long baked bread and climb the Eiffel Tower and see the city views. Mostly I would like to see the Mama Lisa painting. If I would have a day to plan for my family for the weekend, I would like to go to places where they swim. We'll have a lot of fun swimming and also do family braais. And one of my favorite hobby with my family is painting because I like to paint with my family. And why is family important? Family is important because we get to communicate and bond and our love will grow stronger.
Hello everyone, my name is Matemba Kosa. I am 6 years old. I go to Jabez Christian Academy School. I would like to visit England one day with my family, meet new friends, play with them. If I could plan a day with my family, I would like us all to play hide and seek with me. I would love to learn how to bake muffins with my dad. I love spending time with my family because it makes me feel loved and safe.
Today, I'll be talking about the importance of spending time with my family. I feel like I spend enough time with my family. The best way to spend time with my family is to have a movie night or to watch soccer together because we love watching soccer together. I would like to go to the stadium with my family or go to a hotel. That would be very, very fun and extremely luxurious. Spending time with my family helps strengthen the bond between family members. It creates stronger relationships and allows for greater understanding and connections so that you don't always have to start fights with your family members, so that you love each other and you understand each other. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you have a great day further on. Goodbye, and I'll see you next time.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Arham Ahmed. I enjoy spending time with my family, but I wish we could have more game nights. It's important to bond with family because it strengthens relationship and creates lasting memories.
My name is Ashley Kawamba. Yes, I do spend a lot of time with my family members. We always go out or stay home together, and sometimes we do make arrangements to go visit our family.
My name's Lorraine Moyo. Each day in my family, we wake up to go somewhere. My brother and I go to school. My father goes to work, although my mother is usually at home. Each evening, when the weather is good, we normally sit outside on the stairs and chat until it gets dark. We have a lot of time together and tell each other how our day was. Sometimes my father tells us stories about how he grew up, which is so funny. On weekends, we watch the football matches together, and we have come to use the matches as a family time as well. We also go out to visit other places together as a family. Our favorite place to go to is the Kruger National Park, and we play a game to see who gets the most points in seeing an animal first. I wish you could play outside together, the ball or racing. I've asked my parents, but they always say they're busy doing something. I hope one day they will not be too busy. Then we can play together.
Hi everybody, my name is Kate. I don't spend that much time with my family because we all have our own things to do. I like just sitting in my room and playing my music, or just vibing, or even calling my friends, or even going to a friend's house. So sometimes we all do our own thing and we don't spend that much time together, and honestly I am fine with that, and I don't have a problem with us not spending that much time. It doesn't bother me at all, and I've never really suggested it that much, but I have sometimes, but now I don't really anymore that much because I'm also busy with my own life.
Thank you, friends. It's always wonderful to hear from you. Spending time with your family is one of the most special things you can do, whether it's laughing together, sharing a meal, going out on an adventure, or learning something new from a parent or grandparent. Those moments help us grow closer. Even if we can't always go on big trips or do something exciting every day, the time we spend together, even just talking or playing, can make us feel loved and happy. There might be fun things you've always wanted to do or try with your family, like going to the beach, camping under the stars, or having a picnic at the park. Thinking about those dreams is the first step to making them happen one day. You might have a place in mind that you wish to visit with your family. Maybe it's somewhere nearby or far away, like a zoo, a farm, or even a new city. Just imagining the things you would like to do there together can be exciting. Sometimes planning a whole day with your family can be fun. You could picture what games you'd like to play, what food you'd eat, and what kind of music you'd like to listen together. A day filled with laughter and love sounds wonderful, doesn't it? You may also have something special you'd like to learn or create with a family member. Maybe it's baking cookies with your grandmother, painting with your big sister, or learning how to fix something with your dad. Doing these things together helps us learn and feel proud. Spending time with the people you love helps you feel safe, happy, and connected. It's important to make time for each other. Even small moments can make a big difference. Take a moment to think about these things. Something fun you've never done with your family but would like to try. A place you dream of visiting with them one day. What your perfect family day would look like. Something special you could learn or create together. And how spending time with your family makes you feel inside. No matter how big or small the moment, spending time with your family can bring smiles, love, and memories that last forever. So take time to love, learn, and grow together, because those are the moments that truly matter. That's it for today, friends. See you next time.
This program was brought to you by SABC Education. Enriching minds, enriching lives.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out, because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, the 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC.
Have you discovered the TV license website or rather WhatsApp as yet? Yes, the TV license WhatsApp. So we see you binging on reruns, living for the drama, loving the SABC Plus sports replays. Now, paying a TV license fits the vibe, right? All you have to do is type hi on WhatsApp to 077 6069 060. That's 077 6069 060. Just message hi. Get your balance, make a payment, or set up a debit order, all in one simple, easy chat. There's no queues, there's no please hold, just convenience that feels like it should have been done here all along, because every screen in South Africa is a stage and yours is lit. So why not wait? Send hi to WhatsApp on 077 6069 060 and get your TV license sorted today. Hashtag your screen, your story.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
We are catching up now with Mary Payne, who's the Deputy Managing Director of Sesame Workshop South Africa. And they've recently celebrated their 25th anniversary of Takalani Sesame. How are you doing this afternoon, Mary?
Good afternoon, Bridget. Lovely to be here.
Thank you so much for taking the time. 25 years, 25th anniversary of Takalani Sesame. And you guys have become a trusted companion to millions and millions of South African children.
Yes, it's an absolute honor and a privilege. And we're so excited to celebrate with South Africa and with the SABC that has been our partner for the past 25 years. And it's really just been amazing of all the support and the messages and the love that we have received from all our viewers that grew up on the show, that have been watching the show, and are where they are today because of the show. So it's really just been amazing in the celebration.
How important is it, for society to have children-focused edutainment such as Sesame Street, Takalani Sesame, and the other sort of brands that you have underneath your umbrella?
Yes, it's absolutely crucial as we have a passion and our expertise lie in early childhood development, on early learning and stimulation and education for very young children. Through the television show, like you said, we have become a household name. We are a trusted advisor to parents. We are a friend, and our Muppets are friends to children across South Africa. And it's so important to have that safe educational content on television. So you can put your child in front of a Takalani Sesame episode, and you know that it's going to be safe, it's wholesome, it's teaching them good morals and values. It helps them educationally to prepare for school. So it's so important to be that advisor and that go-to, and some people say we like a nanny, so you can put your children in front of the television while you're cooking or doing something in the house. But not only that, really advocating for the importance of early learning and early childhood development, and that those early years are so critical in a child's development. We know that 90% of a child's brain develop by the age of 5. So really catching them in those early years with educational content has really been our cornerstone for the past 25 years.
And sort of, jumping on that lead, Sesame Workshop, recently you guys have reaffirmed your partnership with the Department of Basic Education through the Banapile campaign. Tell us more about this collaboration and also just, the critical focus on ECD registration.
Yes, absolutely, and it's absolutely correct. We're kind of reaffirming our relationship with the DBE. We have had a very strong relationship with the department for the past 25 years. They were very instrumental in the early 2000s to bring Takalani Sesame to South Africa as well. So we've been working with them very closely for a very long time, but reaffirming that partnership through the Banapele registration campaign. As part of our 25-year celebrations over the next 12 months, we have decided to adopt the Banapele ECD registration campaign as one of our projects to celebrate our birthday. And it's really around the message that it's very important for ECD centers and play groups and anybody looking after children during the day to register with the Department of Basic Education. It's important for us to know how many ECD centers there are across the country, where they are, but also most importantly to make sure that it's safe environments for young children. We want to make sure young children are safe. We want to make sure they get proper early learning and stimulation, that they use proper curriculums and daily programs. So really supporting the Banapele campaign as it also closely aligns to the mission of Sesame Workshop South Africa, where we want to see all children to become smarter, stronger, and kinder.
Absolutely. And of course, Takalani Sesame with this 25th birthday celebration, let's look at how this show has adapted and evolved over the years in order for it to stay consistently relevant in a changing South African society.
Yes, absolutely, Bridget. So our content goes through a long process of development. We do a lot of research, first to determine what is the current issues that children and families in South Africa are dealing with. And then once we start to develop content, we also test that content through formative testing on parents and children. So we test it on children to make sure they are getting the messages and the educational outcomes that we want them to get after they watch the content. So a lot of research goes into it. We also do a very thorough curriculum process where we develop our curriculums with trusted advisors. We go to pediatricians, occupational therapists, speech therapists. So really drawing on a wide sector of experts to carefully craft our content. But throughout the years, yes, we have adapted to situations. Early 2000s, starting with Kami, introducing our first HIV/AIDS positive Muppet and her journey and destigmatizing HIV/AIDS. During COVID, we focused a lot on socio-emotional skills for young children, so how to deal with all of those emotions that they were feeling and dealing with. And so really just adapting to what our children need in the current times.
Well, listen, it's been 25 incredible years, and we wish you 25 more. We thank you so much for the time. That was Marie Payne, Deputy Managing Director of Sesame Workshop South Africa, and they've just celebrated their 25th anniversary. What an incredible 25 years it has been. So many kids in South Africa and worldwide have grown up on Sesame Street and Takalani Sesame and the likes. It is nearing the end of our show. In the last couple of minutes of our show, we're going to double back to some of your WhatsApps. Earlier on in the show, I was saying it's so good to be back. If you are just only now switching on the radio, I've been away from the show, as I'm sure you know, for the last 2.5 months. A big thank you, by the way, to Bertha and KG, who tag teamed to hold fort for me. And when they jumped on, it was at last minute, without even so much as a warning and prep to say, please, can you come and hold fort for the next couple of months? I went off and I took all the necessary time that I needed to really just, get comfortable in the final trimester and get ready to add to the South African population census. I can be counted now. I've added a human being there. Uh, and today we are back. We are back. So let's go to WhatsApp and see what's on your mind.
Good afternoon, Bridget Masinga. I'm just so happy to hear your voice, to hear you again. I did miss you so much. I miss your topic. I miss your laughter. I miss your humor. It's you in Cape Town, Bridget. You're welcome, Bridget. We love you. We love you. We love you. It's you in Cape Town. Keep up the good job.
Good afternoon, Bridget. Welcome back. And I'm very happy for you. Congratulations. We missed you a lot. What is the name of the baby? Oh, congratulations once more. Thank you very much, Peter Maila Machaba from Letswatla.
Thank you so much, Peter. Okay, so I had a baby girl, beautiful baby girl. Although she used me as a vessel for 9 months and then completely betrayed me because she doesn't look like me at all. There's this thing that they say about girl babies. Girl babies, they take their father's everything, the whole face, the whole body, the whole mannerism. Yonkinto. They just decide, Uti, actually, I'm going to throw it back to dad. So I had a beautiful baby girl, and her name is Masilake. Which is Masilake Ikaya. Everyone always says, what does Masilake mean? So it's like Masilake Ikaya. That is her name, Masilake. I call her Masi for short, but yes, Masilake Maine is her second name. I got that name, by the way, a little bit of a story. Simpiwe Dana was celebrating 10 years of Zandisile was her debut album, right? Yes. And she was in Baseline celebrating 10 years back then. I wasn't even thinking about having a baby then. And I heard the song for the first time and it resonated with me. And I whispered to her management, I'm like, I'm going to name my child Maine one day. And I stuck to that. So, yes, so that is the baby's name, Masilake Maine Masinga. And she's at home waiting for me now. So finally, when we have these conversations about balancing motherhood and babies, and I was thinking about it when I was at home, how we always have conversations around women having to step out of their professional spaces, in order to be mothers and caregivers, and then coming back into the work cycle. I was like, finally, I can speak from a first-hand perspective. I don't have to put that disclaimer that I put at the beginning of every show that goes, well, I'm not a mom yet. So now I can be like, well, actually. So thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who tweeted me. A lot of you guys were tweeting me over the last couple of months to say, where are you? Why aren't you at work? So I appreciate the tweets, and I'm so happy to be back. I see you all on Twitter as well, welcoming me back. I appreciate it. We're going to wrap up an incredible year of programming, for the next couple of months and just take the show to bigger and better. Have a fabulous afternoon. Ashraf is standing by to take over from 3 to 6. Lots and lots on the agenda this afternoon. Lots to unpack. Can't wait to hear what's on your mind in as far as all the issues that are gripping the country right now. Inshallah, God willing, we get to do it again.
This Women's Month, SAFM stands with the women shaping South Africa's future. Under the theme, Building Resilient Economies for All, we honor the pioneers, the problem solvers, and the everyday heroes driving change. Stay tuned as SAFM brings you powerful stories and meaningful conversations that move us. SAFM, celebrating women, celebrating progress. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
Thank you, Bridget, on the top stories. Cosatu reacts on